Yo guys, what is up? Fly here. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about the War Thunder ships that we're going to be able to play in the naval battles in War Thunder closed beta test that is coming out later this year. The new dev blog for Project 1124 Armored Riverboat just came out, so I wanted to wait for this video or for both ships to come out so we can talk about it and compare the two and see which ones would be better for our types of play styles. And after we're done talking about these two ships, I'm going to be touching on the subject of why don't we have big ships and we want big ships, and why I think the smaller ships will work the best in War Thunder ships at this moment. Okay, so here we go. Project 1124 Armored Riverboat Waterborne Katusha. I'm not joking. This is actually a ship that's going to be added into War Thunder. So this is the Russian or the Soviet ship that will be in War Thunder closed beta test, naval sea battles, Knights of the Sea. Right off the bat, we see a T-34 turret. It has a turret above the, I guess, bridge, you would call it. And those are two machine guns for anti-air and other things. And then in the rear, we have a Katusha launcher. Like, I don't think you can have more of a Russian ship added into the game. You have the T-34 turret, you have the Katusha launcher. Just like imagine the conversation, like back in the day between Ivan and Bear. They were like, "Comrade Ivan, I have no gun for boat. How am I fight?" And then Bear was like, "Don't worry, comrade. Here, take T-34 turret." Okay, so a little bit about the 1124 Armored Riverboat. It was developed in 1933 to 34 for a wide range of battlefield tasks in river waterways, mostly the Amur River, from where it received its unofficial nickname, Amurian. This boat might be a double agent. In spite of its simple design and very uncomfortable crew quarters, very Russian, this boat boasted leading developments in the Soviet industry for that time. The Soviet aviation builders gave the boat her heart, 2 aircraft engines from TB-3 and MBR-2 bombers. Are you serious? Like, how this boat has so much history in it already. Soviet gunsmiths gave the Amurian boat the latest weaponry. Turrets from the famous T-34 with a 76mm cannon, twin high-caliber machine guns, and the legendary Katusha multi-rocket launcher system. So this boat, I mean, has it all. You got machine guns, you got cannons, you got rocket artillery, and that's why I think War Thunder ships is going to be a whole different experience for all of us compared to all the ship games we played in the past. So instead of duking it out in these big battleships, we'll have these nimble patrol boats, destroyers, and the thing is, guys, is that if we can hammer down the basic combat of, like, to make ships fit into the game, I think it's only from that point on that we can't move forward into bigger ships. And with a ship like the Project 1124, I don't need a big ship, man. Look at that, man. You got rocket artillery, you got a T-34 turret, and maybe I'm getting too deep right here, but to everyone who wants big ships in War Thunder, I think it has the chance to ruining the whole quote-unquote fast pace of the game. Because if you want big ships and long games, there's already games out there for you guys. I mean, with small ships like the Project 1124, it's kind of like tank battles on the water, but with more armament. You got a cannon, you got a machine gun, you got a rocket launcher. So I think this approach will fit much easier into the game. And I think they are building ships to work along with tank battles, so tanks can shoot at ships far out in the sea, and if ships want to come into the battle area of the tanks, it's going to be kind of risky because the ship's armor, well, I guarantee you a riverboat won't have the thickest armor, and tank shells will be able to shoot critical components of the boats. So we've already mentioned a little bit of the 1124's armament, but just to hammer it in, the T-34 turret located in the bow of the boat provides a means to fire precisely at any vehicle's most vital modules and components, even from a great distance. So this tells me two things. One, riverboats are much more stable in the water than PT-76s, because when I would take my PT-76s into the water and try to shoot at tanks, you know, maybe 500 meters away, it was really hard. But you got to think the PT-76 is so small compared to the displacement of the 1124. So the bigger ships, I guess, are more stable in the water. It makes complete sense. This is what I really like to hear, though. Provides a means to fire precisely at any vehicle's most vital modules. So what this means is that it kind of hints at the ability that there'll be different vehicles to shoot at in the game mode that this will be in, and that's what I think they're doing. You know, they just don't want ships versus ships, guys. They want ships, tanks versus planes in the game, and I think, oh man, I'm getting way too excited right now. Also, it has two 7.2 millimeter machine guns. Those are the DHSKs. I don't really know how to pronounce them, the Dishka. But they say these guns effectively eliminate crews on enemy ships in low-flying aircraft. So there's no picture of it right now, but hopefully War Thunder ships will have crew modeled on the deck of the ship. Now, I don't necessarily need, if a torpedo hits a ship, for people to go flying, but it would be kind of cool to see while you're engaging enemy ship, crew running around to different positions, or maybe just stationary at a position just to give it some more realism. Last but not least, the main destructive power of the Project 1124 lies in her M13 M1 unguided rocket launcher, the legendary Katyusha, capable of raining down death and destruction with single volleys of 16 rockets. So single volleys means you don't have to fire them all at once. I hope it's not a 16 at one time shot, but dealing simple catastrophic damage to enemy ships on water and ground alike. Thank you, War Thunder. So again and again, they're reinforcing the whole, you know, ground combat with water combat in the game. So the next ship up is the PT-109 Kennedy's Torpedo boat. This boat has been made pretty famous throughout video games featuring the American Navy, such as Battle Stations Midway and Pacific, and Medal of Honor. I don't know if you guys remember that first mission where you're woken up on the in the boat during Pearl Harbor, and you got to make your way to the top of the deck and then use the 50 cal on the, or the 30 cal on the deck to kill zeros, and then you get in the boat and you're killing zeros. That was one of the most epic gaming experience of my life growing up. But now that I revisit it on the GameCube, because I recently bought a GameCube, I revisited that same mission, and wow. It was quite hard to get into compared to when I first played it many years ago. But that was the first time I experienced the PT-109 in a video game, and I distinctly remember 50 cals and all the machine guns on board that boat one-shotting the crap out of Japanese Zeros and Kate torpedo bombers. So the devlog of the PT-109 shares a great story about JFK, or John Fitzgerald Kennedy. I'll let you guys read that. The link to all these devlogs are in the description below for you guys. But I just kind of want to read about the specifications of the PT-109. Now, one thing that we noticed right away compared to the 1124 is that we have torpedoes on board. And if you ask me right now, these 1,200 kilogram torpedoes are super overkill for a 1124 or other patrol boats in the game. If a patrol boat takes a direct hit from a 1,200 kilogram torpedo, that's like dropping a Gram Slam, the British bomb, on a Sherman. There's no point for it. So with having torpedoes on a patrol boat, we have to expect bigger things, even past destroyers. Maybe we'll have different game modes of maybe like kill the AI battleship, because when people were asking in the Q&A, or just a little bit of the Q&A, they were saying there will be AI controlled battleships. So maybe this is a ship that could, you know, punch through their bulge armor and do some significant damage. So we have 4 21-inch Mark 18-1 torpedo tubes on the PT-109. Now the other armament are 2 twin high caliber 50 cal Browning machine guns. Gosh, War Thunder, that's a mouthful. In rotating turret. So these are the 50 cals that I remember rotating around in the Medal of Honor mission, just shooting all the zeros down and all the Kates. Now this is where it gets kind of cool. An automatic 20 millimeter cannon on the stern. So that is the biggest cannon that the PT-109 has. So this seems like a hit or miss ship. You gotta hit you gotta make sure your torpedo connects, or you'll get blasted by the 1124, the riverboat the Soviets had. I guarantee you that 20 mil, I don't think it will go through deck armor, or side armor, but we'll see. But if you ask me right now, what ship should you guys get if you're looking to get into closed beta tests? I mean, it's kind of clear which one would win a ship battle. The Project 1124, because you have a 76 millimeter, you have machine guns to kill off deck crew, and then you have a Katyusha launcher to magazine hit the torpedoes on the outside of the PT-109. But so I don't know how this is really gonna work, but maybe it'll just be like death matches. But it shouldn't be too hard to aim the PT-109's torpedoes. But you got to understand, the Project 1124 has legendary TB3 and MBR's engines powering it. Maybe the Project 1124 isn't as fast as the PT-109 that hits a top speed of 41 knots. But I think a safe ship to invest in would probably be the Project 1124, because you have best of all worlds. You got firepower, you got firepower, and you got firepower. You don't have to rely on a 21-inch torpedo to make contact. You can shoot a gun at supersonic speeds and hit your target. So pretty pumped about these ships being added into War Thunder. I can't wait to use the, I think I'm most excited about the 1124 with the Katyusha and the T-34 turret. But one thing I want to add to get y'all's brains churning is think about weather, think about water. How will that play into War Thunder ships? Because we already have the technology in the game for it. It doesn't have to be added. We already have NVIDIA Waterworks. That was added many patches ago. And I think with small boats, it'd be freaking awesome on a storm map or a storm weather map to go bouncing around and try your best to get your guns on target. But maybe that's just me and not everybody else, because a lot of people like to win and have complete control of the battlefield and not have a thing they can't control, such as the weather, play into the loss of the game for themselves. Now before I go, I want to leave my thoughts with you guys on why I think gunboats are the way to go for War Thunder ships. We can start very simply with the meta of the game right now. Gunboats will fit much easier into the tank RB type of mode, you know, planes versus tanks, tanks versus planes, planes versus ships, ships versus tanks, because the thing with these riverboats is that they have the ability to go up and down certain canals on maps and get into the battlefield as well, such as like Eastern Europe. Now I don't know what's on the other side of the map, but maybe there might be a little pond for these riverboats to fight in. But just as simple as that, these boats have the ability to get into the action of the tank battle, unlike these huge naval capital ships. And I understand why people are frustrated about not having naval combat, or like as they thought it would be like Fuso versus, you know, South Dakota class, North Carolina class. But you guys got to realize is that in War Thunder is a company, right? And to compete, they have to make things entertaining, and to make things entertaining, they can't be fucking slow as shit. And with World of Warships and what they've done a good job with World of Warships, I think. But there's a point where battleship gameplay gets really redundant and really boring. I don't know about you guys, but if you still play World of Warships, some of your favorite things to do in the game is to play a destroyer class, because those are fun, a lot of actions going on, and you can do a lot more than just sit there, sail in a straight line, and then click every 30 seconds, you know? It's very hard to make battleship gameplay entertaining. And what I wanted to get back to War Thunder making an entertaining game is that some of the most popular games in the world are fast-paced, such as CSGO, such as Call of Duty. Now, I'm not comparing it to those, but to the people who want slow fucking games for 2 to 3 hours games, I've seen those comments. That is ridiculous, and that is you can't monetize that. No one's going to sit there for an hour to 2 hours and play a naval battle. well, when I say no one, I mean like maybe 2 or 3%. But you can't sell that. It's really hard to sell that idea, especially in the War Thunder model. And with the gunboats, fast, quick, easy to kill, easy to get kills, you know, kind of gameplay, not these big floating cities with slow traversing guns and, you know, all that jazz. And another reason why, you know, maybe battleships work in World of Warships is because you got to remember that that game is ship versus ship. It's not, you know, planes versus ships versus tanks that War Thunder is trying to do. We have a revolutionary game mode coming up, and some things have to be sacrificed to get it balanced and entertaining. I'll tell you right now, I was always wanting big ships in War Thunder, but as I would take the time to think about how to add them, it got harder and harder to think. And with having this option of patrol boats and gunboats and river boats, I think it's much easier. But guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video and this made it easier for you guys to decide on what ship, if you are getting a ship, to purchase for the closed beta test for naval battles or forces, whatever they want to call them. But guys, have a great Monday, and until next time, peace out.